Bring us in.
Welcome to Hashtag Set Live.
One of these days, we're going to have a dance choreographed for that, and we're going to have a whole opening sequence.
I can't wait.
You're gonna see me shaking.
It's gonna make Peacemaker look like Child's Play.
It will be my shining stylophone debut. I'm so happy for this.
Man, a whole ass stylophone solo. Welcome to Hashtag Set Life, everybody. I am one half of your hosting team, Bradford Clark. The other half gave us that lovely serenade at the beginning there. Joseph, say
Sheldon
hi.
Quick. What's up, y'all?
And today we are joined with a guest, a special guest, a good friend of ours, Nate McDonald. Ooh. Nate, tell the people what you do on set.
I make motherfucking content.
Hell yeah.
Good shit. But essentially, I'm a producer, first AC, among other things. But
Soon to be co-director.
First time next week. So
Which is lovely.
That cough was not comedically timed.
It was not. It just had to happen, or it was going to make me bubbly. Briefly tell our audience then, because you started with producer and then mentioned first AC. So kind of give us a quick path of your time in movies.
So I started off as a first AC for like 3 years, honestly, and then or like.
Was first AC something that you had just an opportunity to do, so you said, fuck it, I'll try it? Or was that something that you, at the time, were trying to do?
It was just me getting into filmmaking.
Okay.
It was the easiest way. And there wasn't many first ACs back then in the city.
Yeah, for sure. We still have a hard time. You know, there are good ones, and then there are ones that fall off. So,
right.
And it's unfortunate because I think that role within our local industry gets a little bit underappreciated.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. Every role takes its own kind of tenacity, and that one I think people underestimate the fortitude it takes.
The importance and all of the roles and responsibilities. So
I don't even understand what it is. What I do most of the time.
Correct. Trust me, brother. I'm in the same position. I
can't tell you how many people call themselves gaffers say, "Oh, I'm not a grip." Well, then you can't gaff. You need to know how to grip.
You got.
I'm not even talking about rigging. Mm-hmm. Like you need to know how to your left from your right on your knuckles and all. Like these are elementary.
Yes, right. And everybody's got to start somewhere. So sitting at the seat, sitting at the monitor, keeping everything sharp.
Yeah.
At some point, you decided you wanted to not go the direction of camera and DP and so forth, but you instead wanted to go produce and direct. And I think that's a really good.
Commendable.
Like first ACs being rare, good producers in town are also pretty rare. Mm-hmm. And you come across as somebody who wants to understand the job, not just have the title. So tell us a little bit about, have you produced anything as of late, or are you in a process of developing yourself as a producer? What is your current status?
So I guess technically I've produced 3 films so far. Mm-hmm. So Black Olive, which is out on Tubi right now.
Yep, great movie.
There's
a really sexy guy in that one.
There is.
He's tall and handsome.
And bald.
So you're talking about Brad. I obviously immediately assumed it was me.
And there's a police officer that is very handsome.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Then I did one earlier this year for BZ Jones. Can't think of the name of it. And then I did another one of ours in March called, it's slipping me right now, but we did another one. I forgot. But
you knew you were coming on the show today. So
the name of it,
I'd love to help you out, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So while you're thinking about it, we asked Rodney some questions. Rodney being your partner on Black Olive as well, and partner in
Blu Clover.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the lessons that you learned when making Black Olive?
Well,
because that was a fascinating story, because that was ground up for you guys. You guys self-funded, self-produced, everything that happened because of you.
Right. So what I learned is that there's a lot of hours you're not going to be paid for. Producing,
A lot of non-billables. Yeah,
it's start to finish, like pre-production, before script is even done, to all the way to post-production. Like it's like all hard work. Like,
yeah. So one of the benefits of a producer's role, while there are a lot of hardships, one of the benefits of being a producer is that your financial success comes with the success of the film. So while you're not in a billable hour or day rate type of situation, you are investing your personal time and effort and emotion into a project that ultimately you want to do well.
Right.
And ultimately, if it does, you would then do well.
Right.
Right. So it is one of those things where a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be a producer, But I think if you don't realize, like you said, the amount of uncharted hours that you put in, whether it be from phone calls that you have to make, phone calls you didn't expect to come in, or being
a lot of phone calls.
How many late nights are you up working on something because you thought you were going to sleep and then something came to you and you were like, shit, and then you got up and started doing one thing or another that was for the project?
A lot of nights, even like a lot of days. You gotta be away from like loved ones. Like that's a big sacrifice too. Like work is just never done when you think it's done. It's like something's always coming up. Just like something for our project next week. Like something came up. I'm here now. Something's coming up now. So I'm just trying to deal stuff.
Yeah, you literally just got off a phone call.
Yeah, just got off a phone call.
So could you break down?
If I could further answer that question for Nate before you move on to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being that Nate and I spent quite a bit of time together recently, being Detroit filmmakers going to LA to make a slightly larger scope picture together was monumental to I feel both of our careers, but definitely mine. And I can personally attest to how dedicated he was, not only to the project we were there producing in production at the time, but how many phone calls he was taking between takes or after putting in a 12-hour day. Him and I are sitting around a fire pit bullshitting about the day, having a drink and a laugh, and he's got to, give me 20 minutes, I got to take this call,
Right.
Because we're 4 hours ahead over there. So the time, and it affected me too, and communicating with my family, but my only project on the books was the one I was working with him. So unless he has a question, I don't got to be on the phone with him.
Right.
But I saw him dealing with this, and it was with care, and it was without consideration to how it infringed on his own personal time. Right. Like he was definitely in that moment.
Right.
I think a lot of things. But being being raised as a man, I think you often get taught how to be sacrificed. I think that's
right.
That's unfortunately, but also who I am. I feel like I've sacrificed in my life a lot, so I'm able to shoulder it better than I think other people to sacrifice things in my life to get things done for the people around me.
I think allocating your emotions are a big part of what would help make a successful producer.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think if you allow, because you have to be a multitasker, right? And I think I'm gonna pause here because could you either of you explain the elementary rules of a producer for someone who's not familiar? They see it. We all know that a producer is there. There are some names that we know. We know Jerry Bruckheimer, but what essentially does the producer do for a film?
Do you want to go or want me to go?
You're the guest, but I can do a preliminary, and maybe you can branch off of that. I'm better at rounding things up. I think that what I've learned in my role outside of gaffing and becoming producer here is that you have to take into every single person, every individual that's involved. You have to take them into consideration for every location you're going to be at, and it becomes not just about the department you're in or the job you're in. It becomes a scope of the whole project. And if you fall short of being able to hone in on, if you're doing more than just producing, your actual job and still see the broader scope, I think then it takes a certain type of person to not only just be a producer, but be a producer who can be on set doing another job, because it is very trying to have to check out of your job to check into producing to make sure the train stays on the tracks before you're even able to do the job you're hired for.
A producer that isn't on set is pretty useless to me as an AD. I need a producer on set. I need somebody who is ultimately above me so that when I need decisions that I can't make made, I need somebody to be there to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I proposed, but this is what I need to happen. Right. They can then say, okay, well, I agree with you or I disagree with you. And then ultimately a decision has been made, because being responsible for corralling the crew along with the director and the DP can sometimes be a conflict, because the crew wants one thing. The crew is very selfish in their own role, which is fine. They're there to do their job. Right. And the DP and the director are there to do their job, but they're vested differently, and they can get lost in they can get lost in their wants and not how that affects everybody else's needs. Right. So can you elaborate a little bit on what Joe had mentioned and maybe a little bit more specific into what the role of a producer is? I think some of the things that you've been responsible for, just even in pre-production.
For one thing, a producer is responsible for is often producing money, finding it, having relations, and maybe endorsements. Basically, bringing money in. It's one of the
handling the investors.
Right.
Finding the investors and handling them.
Another thing is hiring the
expectations.
Hiring the department heads. Like, you're delegating. Like, so if you're hiring out the director, you're trusting that director with their vision, and so you're also trying to help them to create their vision with the best of your ability. So like, not only hiring a director, but also giving him the tools to be the best he can be.
Providing the tools that he needs, the paintbrushes.
And finding the right one for the story that the writer is going to be happy with, that the investors are going to be happy with.
Right. Then finding the best ways to tell the story. I feel like not only...
How do you mean as far as that goes specifically? Or an example of is that in part and parcel in finding who to direct, or are you talking about like, this is what we have, this is the discussion we've had, and this is the budget we have, so these are the things that we're going to be able to do versus this is a dream and we just don't have the capability to do that.
I think he was commenting on how to tell the story within your means.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, we were talking earlier off mic of the number of scripts that I see that I like, but I'm like, how are we even going to do this?
I know this production team. We don't have these
We know the rates that we have. We know the things that we have. Like, I've got a scene here where 8 Cadillac Escalades pull up and 30 guys jump out with, assault rifles. And then on the day, I'm like, so where are them Escalades?
We got 6 guys and in one truck.
They've got one F-150 and 2 guys that just happen to be coming around. Like, that's a different in scope to what the script says and the impact of what's about to happen versus what we shot. And ultimately, in my opinion, as a first, I would like that stuff figured out beforehand. And if you're not going to have what you put on paper,
you need to
how do we pare that down to still have an impact on the scene? Because if we're just going to go through the motions, what ultimately does that do for the film? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I figured that's what you were saying. I just wanted a little bit of elaboration for anyone who might have a question on that.
Of course.
Producing money, finding finances, hiring the department heads is a huge, huge thing. Yeah. And, finding the best way to tell the story within the means is a huge, huge part of making sure that what you are setting out to do is ultimately worth doing.
And feasible. And then after principal shooting, it's a whole lot of stuff after that. So
the producer's job never really ends, especially if you have a successful film. If you have a successful film, you're going to have meetings
ride
well
the coattails the whole life of the
because
project.
you've got when it goes through post, you're going to be there for post. When it finishes post, you're going to look into distribution, whether that be the festival circuit, whether that be right into streaming, whether that be into looking at international or studio type releasing. If you do film festivals, that could be a whole year, 2 years, 3 years of just
Before
festivals.
you can even release.
Then you've got to go into distribution. So you're already talking there. That's a 5-year plus commitment, you know? And once distribution deals end, you've got to reallocate because unless you want the project to just die and not be available forever.
Let's compare how it was 20, 30 years ago to how it is now. Like, yeah, you have the theatrical release, which is an option now, but before you really had to for people to even know about it.
Yeah.
And then you had the, okay, well, we're out of theaters. We have to do the rental circuit through Blockbuster or whoever your home video store was. And then you had to go to cable
TV.
Distribution, right?
Yep, cable
so
TV.
To compare that to today,
and cable TV has 2 stream revenues because you've got your premium services like HBO and Stars,
and then
you have
TNT and your USAs and stuff,
and
like
then
that, where it's
3
all
years,
chopped up.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years later, now you're talking about network TV with
Right,
the
you put it
ABCs,
on
the
the
NBCs.
CWs,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And
Saturday
yeah, so-
afternoons on the CW.
Yeah, and like that's still part of the science of doing this. But now you have like, do you even do a theatrical? Do you go straight to streaming? Do you give exclusive rights for a year to say Tubi or Amazon or Shudder or whoever you can get to pick it up? And in that, like, do you end up losing money because you didn't just release on all platforms and see where it grabs?
And, you know,
it's all a gamble.
A footnote to that, going back and seeing chapter 1, where we were talking about how the producer doesn't get paid the hourly, the same, you know, if you want to make the full personal benefit from it, you'd never leave the job, right? Because all of those things
And
that
this
Joe is
why
mentioning,
these huge budget movies, people do one a decade or like one every 8 years, because taking on that many projects and like staying with them for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's a lot of tedious work. It's a lot of paperwork. It's
like
a lot
having a
of
baby.
It's business. It's the business side of film. What do you find attractive about that role?
Being able to create just beautiful things. Honestly, it's not. I feel like even with the DP, you have just like a hand in it, like shooting it. But I feel like there's so much to the process of making movies more than just shooting it. I think the sound, the editing, like the coloring, like as a producer, you have a hand in all of that. So I think overall creating the beautiful sculpt of the film is like my thing.
So same question, Joe. What's alluring to you about?
Well, as a gaffer, I love being able to like paint and light every shot that the DP wants to compose. You know what I mean? Having a hand in the direct shot composition is lovely for me. But to further what Nate just said is I only have a hand in the images, not the story, not the, you know what I mean? So ultimately, when I take on a producer role, I get to have a say in that. You get to say, well, that's not the way I think it's best told, whether it be for technical reasons or just because I don't find it pliable. Like,
Right.
You know, I get to have that voice and they actually listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're in a position of clout like that, it's ultimately, you know, they have to listen. Right.
Yeah, they have to at least hear me.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, even as a producer, depending on the type or size or style of production, there may not be just one producer. There may not be just one producer department. You've got different producerial roles. Right. Usually, ultimately, there's a producer. Like, we're not talking about executive producer. An executive producer is a different conversation.
More of a UPM.
So you have your associate producers, you have teams of associate producers. So I'm not talking necessarily those are in the production role, but you can have 3 producers, right? And you can have associate producers because on large, big projects, there's multiple jobs to do, right? But then you have your big producer like Jerry Bruckheimer, right? Now he's moved on to being an EP as well as a P.
His whole team's underneath him already.
That's what I'm saying. You have there's So, but here at the level that
You
we're
get Bruckheimer, you get a whole production house.
correct, that we're presently working on, it's usually pared down to one person, which is nice because then you don't have like crossover with decisions and things like that. It's nice to have a discussion with one person. Trying to think of where I was going with that. I had a thought path. But ultimately, I guess, while I trying to recall where I was going with that, could you tell me a little bit about the project that you're presently in pre-production? Because you guys are about to go off and shoot. Who wrote that?
Don't Come Looking.
Yeah, Don't Come Looking. A lady out of Detroit, her first script. I can't recall her name right now. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But her first script, and we liked it a lot. So we just we working with her, and it's just
How long have you been working on putting this together? When did the script come to you? When did you?
Early summer.
It's been
Okay, so
been
that's
at least 2 or 3 months since.
Okay, so that's a pretty quick launch into getting the script and shooting it though.
Late April, early May is when I really heard them first start talking about it, and then I think come like late May, early June is when they started talking to me about coming on board.
Okay,
So our thing was trying to shoot before it gets cold, because Michigan,
smart.
it's gonna get cold, and nobody likes shooting in the cold. So
Yeah, well, and when it's cold, it gets dark earlier too.
that, and you spend more money.
Sure do.
So
Yeah,
so it
just
was,
on hand warmers alone.
so
God.
we were looking for a camping movie or a movie in the woods, like a supernatural movie, and this came up. It's kind of a blend of camping and sci-fi.
We got some
thriller.
native superstition, and
So it's like perfect.
we're filming like at a camp. Like it's gonna have that whole like 90s, like 80s, 90s horror
Like
vibe
slasher
to it.
feel.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
very
So what do you know about that?
Crystal Lake.
about horror?
80s, 90s horror.
Oh, not a lot. But I did my research though.
Okay. So hey, I applaud you. I applaud
They
you.
brought me on. No, I'm just fucking around.
No, but I did go to the camp. I worked at a camp in Connecticut that they filmed the first Jason at.
Oh, nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ironic.
Oh,
but,
yeah, man.
But yeah, we did a lot of research. I typically don't like horror.
Okay.
because I'm scared.
And that's fine. You're not and you're not alone in that. It's not a genre that's for everybody.
Right.
And I applaud you for taking the dive with us on Brain Scan. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
But you were looking. That's the type of project you were looking for. Nature horror.
No, it was more like a camping superficial, like
But you wanted a horror movie.
not necessarily. Horror.
Okay, so
it could have
just-
been like Stranger Things.
I got you.
But they were looking for
It
that.
just happened
They
to
were
be
looking for
that-
that folklore, that that science, like kind of science fiction, but more the metaphysical.
Yeah,
like that's
spiritual type.
based on Native
And I like the
Americans.
concept of folklore. I think there's so many. As someone who watched Supernatural, for example, there are a lot of monster types mentioned throughout the series that I'm like, damn, dude, like they're real, and I'm quoting real in the sense that like these are things that have existed in literature elsewhere, but are not in film the way that
they're
like wow,
including
how come we don't have a good movie about that? And maybe there is a Tubi or
There's a few of them out
B
there,
movie,
but
C movie.
nothing of grandiose
Right.
that brings the whole
Right.
mass of societal.
So that excites me alone about this project in the different direction that the story is, and that right there is appealing enough to me because we do horror around here, but to do something so supernatural like that is different and fun.
Yeah, I was really attracted to it, especially the kind of folklore that they're diving into.
Skinwalkers. If you hadn't heard anything about that.
No, I mean, I don't want you guys to spoil anything
I
you
wasn't
don't want
gonna
to
mention it, but Skinwalker.
Anything you want to talk about, if you want to elaborate on the project, feel free to. But if not, I'll
that's
For all
definitely
you
respect it.
TV
Move
lovers
on.
out there, we are bringing the A-list. We got people that you love and people that you're gonna end up loving because these are some great actors, and some of them maybe you haven't seen as much of that you should see more of, and we're trying to do that with.
How long is the script?
73 pages.
Perfect.
So we're doing
It's a
it
nice,
9
a
days.
fun little romp in the woods.
And I'm sure that's got some 1/8 page scenes that are definitely going to take half a day to shoot type of situations, chases, or
Yeah, we're gonna take our time.
quick descriptions, but like not a quick scene to shoot. Well, that's good. So you've got yourself a nice little chunk there. And you've only been putting this together for a couple of months. What are some of the challenges that you had from early summer to now to getting to the point of being able to shoot this? What were some of your, you don't have to share your secrets, but so I don't want to say share your strategies, but like what were some of the steps for someone who's not familiar with what goes into developing this and getting to that point? Did you have to meander?
So one of the things for me personally is like the research of horror films. So I try to watch shows that I loved already, but were also suspenseful. So it's more suspenseful than, I guess, horror. So like Hannibal from, I was at NBC a few years ago.
Yep.
Love that show.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes. So watching shows like that, watched a few horror films recently, but like gives me the idea of like what I'm looking for, what space I need, what kind of shots, like the push-ins, like just the space that needs to be there in horror films. And then after that, it was just getting the money on board. And since it was such a short time, it was convincing people, giving people enough information, but we did it. So it was like a blessing.
Yeah. Now, you are also going to be one of 2 directors on this project?
Yes.
Am I not misspeaking? Okay.
I will be co-directing, and the other co-director is Diesel.
Okay. I love Diesel.
Yes. Great actor. Great actor. He just had also great director.
Yeah, he
just had
did
a
Master
film.
Dragon.
Yes. So which is now on Tubi too. So.
Also very funny, very fun. I enjoyed Master Dragon quite a bit.
So now I find it earlier on the last episode, Brad is fully against the kung fu action, but now he's going in for slapstick kung fu.
Yeah, I know, but remember, like I was younger, stupider then.
As long
back
as
in
you're
2000.
admitting it.
Yeah, younger and stupider. This is 24 years later. This is a different. It's a different person. I've grown.
The slapstick kung fu is where it's at.
Bro. Okay, so first off, if we're gonna go there, if you've not seen, God, what is it called? It's not The Last Dragon. Is it The Last Dragon?
Enter the Fist.
No. So this is. I'm gonna have to come back to it because I don't want to recommend it wrong. But it's
Kung
got
Fu Hustle.
Bruce Leroy Jones. But yeah, I digress. It's a great. I'll find out and I'll make sure I recommend what that is. But we were talking about you stepping into directing. Is this your first directorial effort?
This will be my debut.
Are you nervous?
Yes and no, but like it's good to be nervous.
It is good to be nervous.
In the excited fashion.
Yeah, you thrive under pressure. Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, when you make,
and I'm confirming
when you
I was
make
right.
Being uncomfortable, your comfort zone, you can accomplish anything.
100%. And I'm going to come back to that because I want to confirm that it's 1985's The Last Dragon. I was correct, and you have to see it. Okay. It's on Tubi right now. Everyone go watch The Last Dragon. But so yes, first I am nervous on day one of every set I go on. And I've been a performer and in entertainment for a long time in my years. Mm-hmm. And I'm always nervous, right? If I was nervous before the curtain opened on a show, I was nervous before when I was in the wings as a dancer. I would say even back when I was playing baseball, it's always nervous when you got to leave the dugout and head out on the field because while you have the confidence in knowing what you're doing, there's so many things that are unknown that you can't really be prepared for.
To clarify, I get nerved up, but it's not an anxious. If nervous is the word because I'm nerved up, I'm not afraid. I'm not anxious. I'm not worried.
No.
I'm excited and what's going to happen.
Right.
You never know.
Correct.
And yes.
Correct. It's a small little bit of anxiety that it isn't.
Even the word nervous has a little bit of a negative connotation that I'm not really comfortable with. But yeah, I guess
to be
you
clear
would
with
call
my
it
own personal feelings, I'm not driving to set on day one thinking, man, I'm going to fuck this up. It's not a personal thing. I've planned this. I've done everything I need to do, but what may happen that I'm not prepared for today?
I definitely understand that.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
100.
Definitely understand that.
And that is where the trepidation or the nervousness or the anxiety or however you want to describe it, but that little bit of uncomfortable feeling in the gut. I'm not puking anymore,
As the French
not like
would
I
call it,
was.
just a bit of ennui.
Yes, correct. What have you done leading up to this point, though, to help you feel more comfortable and to maybe eliminate a little bit of that nerve?
Preparation. So like
That's what I wanted to hear.
Breaking down the shots to just even like getting screenshots of like the exact shots that I want for certain scenes, like having in the Bible, having a shot list, like having
book,
kind of knowing the script from front to back.
Which is so important.
Really
when I work with directors who don't know the scene, and I'm like, because
actors aren't the only one who should
I
be
get
off
that
the
if I
book.
say a scene number, you may not know what the scene number is. I get that. But if I say the scene where bot, 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 and you go, what? That's hard for me because I know the script forward and backward.
And besides
I'm
the
not
scene we're
directing
on, you could have read it 5 seconds ago.
I gave you the
like
sides. I gave you there's plenty of that, and there are a lot of people that work from the book that's in front of them today, as opposed to being prepared for it when it gets to it. And I think ultimately that's what's going to assist you in doing better than others is having that preparation.
My favorite thing, and I know things change a lot on set, but I actually get a little excited when somebody gets upset that something changed. Like, what do you mean you changed my lines? Can I have 10 minutes to learn them? Like, yes,
Right.
because you were in it before you showed up. You didn't clock in when you got here.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. What are you looking forward to? And this question is for both of you. What are you looking forward to most out of developing this script and bringing it to screen?
For me, I have a lot of responsibility, I guess, for this movie. I'm producing. I'm also ADing, and I'm co-directing.
It's a lot of jobs.
A lot
It's
of
a
jobs.
lot of jobs, bro.
So, and inherently, I'm responsible for like getting the actors together and blocking and creative shots. Or my co-director will be handling more like the acting, because he's an actor. Actor first, director second. But so a lot of it will be on my shoulders. So that's the pressure that I have. Like, so I'm excited to see how I handle that adversity. So and see at the end of the shoot how I did, like and to grow from that.
Yeah, and it is quite a bit of adversity. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. I think what I'm trying to get out of it is exactly like what I'm putting in it. I'm helping colleagues that I enjoy working with create a name for themselves while I create a name for my company and myself. And I think that this partnership, because we've made a couple movies together, UFO and Blu Clover, we've been working on this partnership for a while. So I think it's a good. Yeah, I think it's a good step forward for all of us. You know what I mean? We all have a quality of work ethic and a standard of quality when it comes to our work that we are uncompromising on. You know, and I think that makes us really good partners.
So compromise is a good word, and that'll lead me to, I think, my next question. What are you willing to sacrifice once you get out there, if you had to? Have you given some thought where it's like, okay, because again, you want to do everything you have planned, and ultimately that's the goal. But if you find yourself in a situation where something has to get
from this scene just to keep.
Are you? If there's not something specific, and I don't necessarily need that, where it's like a plot point. But I guess my question is more: are you prepared to have to make sacrifices in order to complete the project?
I'm sure there will be, but as right now, as I have it scheduled, everything is 6 to 7 pages a day.
Nice.
So like we will have time to.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah. Right.
There's like one day we have a 10-page, but like
Is that a dialogue day?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
But
If there's more dialogue than setups and changes, then that's good to have more pages.
Right. I'm not afraid to put a 4-page scene out there and give it less time if I know that my actors are prepared and it's a basic like talky scene
100%.
because I could 4 pages my default is to put 4 pages at 4 hours for setup, for shooting, for everything. If going forward, like if that's a day 6 scene and by the time we're on day 4, I'm like, shit, dude. The way that we're moving and what they know, like, because it's
2 hours.
It's still only a 5-shot setup, right? Yeah. It could be just a master, mediums, and close-ups, and they could whip through that.
This. We can do this in 2 hours.
I can now trim 2 hours off, and I won't necessarily change the schedule that close to shooting, but now I know that the scenes that I was worried about later in the day, I can reallocate time and be like, damn, okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to tell anybody I set this for 4 hours. If we finish this in an hour 45, that could put us ahead.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
To answer your question, I don't expect to cut anything, but if I had to, I will.
Okay. Sure. And I guess, like, I don't necessarily mean content or scenes, but it could mean gags. It could mean, particular shots, so I guess, you don't know, you don't want to prepare to you don't want to go in thinking you're going to have to do that. So I'm not asking you to do that. What I'm asking is, have you given it the thought that, like, if things just don't go as magical, are you mentally prepared to be like, okay, I can
definitely, I'm flexible in everything I do. So I can definitely turn this scene where I have 7 angles probably planned in 2 specials into a 3-shotter, like,
right,
just based on blocking. If I had to on time, like, I could definitely do that. But the goal of this film is to be creative and also take our time. So I wanted to schedule out enough time for us to also have fun and do things maybe we've never done before. But
yeah, that's great.
So
that's great.
And the experimental shots that we talked about yesterday are something that are different than things I've already done, but very similar enough that I'm fully prepared to attempt them with the gear we have.
So you guys just got back from California.
Yeah.
Was that a first-time trip for you to work out in California?
To work in Los Angeles. Yep. I've been out to Cali a couple times. Not always LA, like San Francisco's beautiful, but this was the first time to work, and it was very regimented. Like, we were gung ho. We were getting it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dope. Just to be out there to work. That's where all the movies are right in Hollywood,
of course.
So it was dope to be out there, coming from Michigan, where people write us off. So
yeah, and they shouldn't. I mean, it's nice that Joe and I have had conversations with some of our peers who have worked outside of town and ultimately come back and be like, man, I miss working in Michigan. You guys just do it differently.
We have
people from out of town coming and working here and immediately writing us off. The one we did last November, the comedy about the comedian. Yeah. And they had shot half the movie in Los Angeles, and then they needed the look of Detroit, and budget restricted them from bringing people from Detroit. And so ultimately the
budget restricted them bringing the LA people to Detroit. Right. So they had to hire local Detroiters, and they were so worried about it. But ultimately, the DP was like, I would put you up against anybody out in LA because you guys came with it. Like, because we were schooling him on shit. I was like, no, you can't do that.
We're a hungry community out here.
Yeah. But we don't half-ass.
Which movie was this?
I don't even remember the name of it, to be honest.
Was it the Eddie Murphy one?
No,
I didn't work on that out of principle because I was supposed to be on it, and then they cut like the wages we were negotiating in half, and somebody took it, so I wasn't going to sandbag my own production.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. No, it's one that's not out yet, so I just don't know where we're at as far as being able to talk about it.
Copy.
Hopefully that has a cut coming soon. But continuing with California, what were some of your favorite moments getting to be out there?
I mean, just knowing that being out there, like anywhere you shoot, the production value is through the roof. Like
just being there.
Yeah, because I mean, the golden hour out there is not only longer, but twice as gorgeous, and always just like that's where the gold comes from. All this hard tungsten, like the sun once it hits the atmosphere above those mountains, that whole valley is just bathed in gold. Like
it's longer. Golden hour is longer out there.
that sun.
Dude, that
just
makes
hangs
so
on
much
them
more
mountains,
sense.
dude.
Makes so much more sense. We got
That's
15 minutes out here.
At best, maybe 20 on a good day, right? No, dude, they're logging 45 to 75 minutes a golden hour out there.
Nice.
Depending on what side of the mountain you're on. You get an extra 15, you're on the other side.
Yep.
Man, and I'm telling you, like, no humidity.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is basically the desert, you know? So, I mean, 84 feels like 72.
Okay.
Crisp, cool, you know, because you got that breeze coming through.
I've personally never been to
beautiful. The
LA one way or
traffic
another.
Can eat a dick.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
sure.
It's like 17 lanes, but still backed up.
But nothing's moving.
Be from an eastern city if you're going to drive in LA, because they don't know how to drive. And we're maniacs. So just drive like a maniac from home, because you're the only one on the road. There might be 5 others out there that haven't conformed to Cali speedways yet. But I'm telling you, they got 5-lane freeways and everybody's hugging each other's bumper. Like, it's just stupid. But I had a great time. I would like once in a lifetime experience, especially with these guys, you know, building that bridge a little further. But we were telling a good story. We were working on something, and in places that some people have, like, there's never been filming. Like the mountain we were on for Mount Wilson Observatory, one thing, maybe 2, have filmed there. You want to know what they were? The Prestige, Chris Nolan, and the Three Stooges.
Oh, wow. Big gap.
But
Wait.
no one else.
The
has
new
filmed
Three
up there.
Stooges or the Three Stooges themselves
the
shot
Three
there?
Stooges.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Three Stooges.
That's wild.
Larry, Moe, and Curly. Not even Shemp.
Nate, I want to thank you so much for coming out and spending some time with us and enlightening us on the role of a producer. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys complete this project.
It's going to be a beast.
Yeah, the more I learn about it, the more excited I am. So I'm very grateful to have been able to discuss that with you guys.
Thank you.
We'd give you the name of the California one, but we don't even know it yet. It's got a holding title, but
that's, you know, to be honest, that's normal. You know, I mean, there are a lot of movies that don't have a title until they release, and then you're like, why the fuck you call it
anyway?
That? Yeah.
Non-disclosures.
Tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you or follow you or keep track of the things you got going on.
Well, first, look out for this new movie that's coming out.
You know what? And I actually should have said that first. Do you have anything that you want to promote? I am killing myself for not giving you that opportunity on our last episode. Fuck me.
So, 1, Black Olive on Tubi right now.
Great movie.
Don't Come Looking is coming out soon after we film it. In probably 6 months.
Come on, next spring.
Yep. Rose Gold is something else we produced. Captured.
Oh yeah, you did that with Darren Brown, right? Rose Gold. Yeah.
Darren Brown was the director. Yep. And Will Lewis. Man, I can't.
Scripts.
Scripts is coming out soon with BZ Jones.
That's a series.
Yes.
Look out for yours truly as I played a small acting part in that.
You were in Scripts as well?
Yeah, just one little, you know.
Nice. I knew you did something with BZ, but I wasn't sure what project it was.
Yeah, it was Scripts.
I remember the film we did earlier this year. Can't Have It All.
Okay.
I can tell you a little synopsis about that. It's about a woman.
Love that. Yeah.
A woman that's been dating a guy for a while. She's not really happy with a relationship, so she ponders the idea about a poly relationship, and things don't turn out how she wants it to turn out.
Okay.
And that's how it happens.
Okay. And when is the release for that one?
So we are in post right now, and hopefully to have it out before fourth quarter. So
Okay. Excellent. What are the distribution plans, Tubi?
probably. Yes.
Okay.
It is a quote unquote a Tubi script. It's a topic people want. People like it's popular, and then we have Grace Soul in it, which is an actress that's popular in Tubi, and we have Daniel, which is a fantastic actor. But
Daniel who?
Jeffries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just got done working with Dan Jeffries. I love Dan Jeffries.
Yeah, he's good.
He's
dude.
hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Dan Jeffries is a
That's
blast to have on set.
Man.
Well, wonderful. I really wish I would have given you that opportunity on the last episode. So.
Oh, you did. He just remembered.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my socials is _Nate.m_. Find me on Facebook, Nathan McDonald. My company is called Blu Clover Productions.
BLU. Clover
Yeah, you really should follow that up because
like the old cigarettes that were endorsed
without an
by
umlaut,
Stephen
no
Dorff.
umlaut.
I'm just too excited.
Well, at least they spelled
You just-
it
I don't-
just like the villain from Blade 1, right? Stephen Dorff, because he endorsed that shit.
No,
I think that was
okay.
about the same time. The blue cigarette.
Way off from Nate's promotion, but yes,
I don't know.
There's a connection. Nate is not affiliated with.
I
Stephen
know
Dorff.
it was a bad joke. How do you know Stephen Dorff doesn't want to be affiliated with
1995.
Nate?
He should want that.
He should want
He
that.
should want that. But yes, it's Blu Clover, as in BLU Clover
Productions with an S at the end.
with an S at the end. .com. So bluecloverproductions.com and _Nate M_ at Instagram. Joseph, how can people follow you?
Well, and get off my coattails. They've been following me too much. No, obviously at chaotic _Instagram and by following the podcast or on IMDb at Joseph Sheldon Quick.
Wonderful. And you can find me at Beeford Clark on Instagram. You can follow the show at ufostudio.detroit. You can go to our website at ufpodcast.podbean.com where you can find links to our shows and a link to our merch store where you can support the show by buying some of our t-shirts, hoodies, and other such things. We would very much love suggestions on what you would like, and we would very much love for you to give your support if you so choose. However, for free, you can go to Apple, Spotify, YouTube, give us a thumbs up, give us a star rating, and give us some comments so you can let us know how we are doing and provide us some feedback on what you'd like us to ask our guests and what kind of guests you'd like to have on our show so that we can ask them enlightening questions and help educate you while they educate us on what they do in the film business. So thank you, everybody, and until next time.
Hashtag set life.
Have a good day, everyone.